I saw a lot of people living miserable life, even if they had a lot of money. I wanted to show them that there are so many other ways for them to start making money, right? As well as, start becoming healthy. That's why I always talk about health. For me, it's not just having a lot of money. It's that there is a triangle. The first part of the triangle is financial health, right? That's money, income coming in. Second is your physical health, right? That is how you can climb the mountain, I can climb the mountain. And third is the mental health or the family, right? The relationship you have with your friends and surrounding, right? If you do not maintain all three, you are going to have issues, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have or if you are in the best physical shape of your life, but you got to have all three.
With no limitations, what does your perfect day look like? What if it's possible to live like that every day? Would you wake up after 9 a.m, have perfect health, maybe fire your boss, have the money and freedom to do what you love most? The world is your oyster. Where would you be? Who would you be with? The possibilities are endless. Whether you believe it's possible for you or not, you can make more, work less, and live free. Welcome to Freedom Hack Radio, where entrepreneur, best-selling author, world traveller and adventurer Bryce Robertson and special guests crack the code on money, health, relationships, spirituality and having fun doing what you love most. Be inspired to create your own self-designed freedom lifestyle.
Welcome back to another episode of Freedom Hack Radio. I'm your host, Bryce Robertson. And today, my friends, we have a very exciting topic and an exciting guest. We are going to talk about something very relevant, and that is how to invest in recessionary environments. There's a lot of chaos going on in the world right now. There's a lot of chaos going on in the economy. And we've got a very special guest and friend joining us today, Mr. Alpesh Parmar, who is going to join us to take a deep dive on this. So Alpesh Parmar is an entrepreneur, investor, author, and podcast host. He owns over 500 rental units in markets like Atlanta, Columbus, Birmingham. And besides, he invests in international markets like Belize, Panama, Paraguay, and India. He focuses on mobile home parks and senior housing facilities, and he has invested in cryptocurrency mining businesses because he believes in blockchain technology. Alpesh is also a friend of mine, and he's a top guy. He's also a joint venture partner. We've just recently started doing business together. We've got a lot of alignments. Alpesh, welcome to Freedom Hack Radio. I'm really excited to have you here with us today, mate.
Thank you so much, Bryce, for having me. And thank you for the great introduction as well.
Excellent, man. Great to have you here, dude. So one place I'd really, really love to start. What's given you the most gratitude today, brother?
Today, the most gratitude, I think it's helping investors, right? Helping not only investors, but people who want to get out of the rat race, right? So whenever they reach out to me, I give my time for free. I try to coach them as much as possible. Sometimes they end up investing with me. Sometimes they don't, but at least they find some kind of path.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. You know, there's a lot of chaos going right now in the markets. And I think it's really good that investors have some guidance. You know, not everybody has the time to be able to do all the research that we do. And
right.
So it's great. Thanks for sharing that one, brother. So how do you feel about having hundreds of units now that the eviction moratoriums have been lifted?
Oh, it's a great weight taken off my back, right? Because all of us were worried for so long. I did not understand how even CDC can put an eviction moratorium, but that's how it just rolled for last, year and a half, close to year and a half. Or so finally that it's lifted. I had another mobile home park where we were having trouble as well, little bit, not crazy, but at least now that it's being lifted, I can go and, evict those tenants who really don't want to pay, right? Because there are tenants who genuinely are not able to pay, right? And we try to help them. That's the whole point, right? We are investing, but we also have some kind of empathy. But there are some tenants who just want to take advantage of the situation and they just don't want to pay, right? When government is handing out so much free money, you can spend that money on weed and Netflix, but you can't pay rent.
Yeah, it's a priorities game, man. You know, and I can't even blame the people so much. You know, it's just
Right.
like, you know, the government's just stepping in right now and trying to really take over in so many aspects. And you know, I was just about to write out to my investors and put a video together actually on all of the reasons why I believed that the eviction moratoriums couldn't stay in place. You know, because
Right.
basically the government was just taking control of landlords' income. And, you know, my main point was the fact that, you know, landlords across America, that's a, you know, think about how much money is backing that space. You know, it
Yes.
wasn't going to last
Huge.
forever. And I'm so glad that the Supreme Court actually ruled it out as being unconstitutional. So now, no eviction moratoriums and no foreclosure moratoriums for most of America. There's still a few states that are
Yes.
getting phased out, but that's great. So you know, I'm actually like, you know, I'm happy about that, because obviously we've got a lot of units as well. We've got a lot of mobile home
Yes.
park lots. We don't want anybody else controlling our income. We want to be the ones that control that. That's the good side of things. But now the flip side of things is you know, I know that while these eviction moratoriums were in place and while these foreclosure moratoriums were in place, there was over 10 million households that were behind on rents,
Yes.
and there was over 10 million households that were behind on their mortgages. And now that's due. Now people have to actually pay the consequences of that. And
Yes.
so
And we have
obviously
to
there's a
catch
lot of
up.
people are going to get evicted. There's a lot of people that are going to be foreclosed on. Sure, there's going to be a lag time. And I believe that means that we're going to see a housing crash right now. And that's going to start as early as fall this year. And it's going to be in full effect by summer next year. So I'm just wondering what your 2 cents are on that.
Oh, that's a great point as well. And actually, I thought that last year the housing crash would start. And
Mm.
then as soon as the Fed started pumping money, right, they started printing, they started putting money back in the economy, actually started going back up, right? And it was ridiculous that everywhere the housing market went up by, I would say, 30 to 50% in a
Yeah.
year. It's ridiculous. So at this point, it's way above the peak. It's everything, stocks to real estate, everything is at all-time high. And it's about time that we see the correction, right? And then to add to that, what you said, right? Eviction moratorium being lifted, the foreclosure moratorium, there are so many things which went on. They would start lifting all those. And to add to that, the interest rate, once the interest rates start rising, as of now, of course, again, Fed is keeping the interest rates down so that people keep spending money. As soon as the interest rates start rising, I think you are on the money there. But if not this year, next year, the correction has to start.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we've been in limbo, man. Like I was ready for
Yes.
this to happen in 2019.
Me too.
It's just time for it to happen. But there's all these new rules though, or
Yes.
tactics that the government's bringing to the game to try and delay things and manipulate the systems. And we were just kind of like up in the air. There's this big question mark, like
Yes.
when are we going to be able to evict people for non-payment, and when are
Yes.
people actually going to have to come due on paying their mortgages? And so, yeah, now I think the cookie's crumbling, man. And you know, that's sad because there's going to be a lot of people displaced. But
Yes.
I think we're going to see a temporary, at least, massive spike in self-storage, because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to get
I
evicted.
agree.
There's going to be a lot of landlords that are going to say, hey, man, you just got evicted. I don't want you in my accommodation. And that
Yes.
sucks. But I think there's going to be a lot of people moving in with family. And so self-storage is going to crank up. Mobile home parks are going to be
Mobile
super.
home parks. Yes.
And that's why you and I mean, we've kind of had this foresight for years, and
Yeah.
we've built our businesses around this. I mean, I have a recession-resistant investment firm, so our investments perform well during good economic times, and they perform even better through down economic times. And I know you have the same philosophy, and I'm really curious, Alpesh, like, what's your perspective? Like, what things have you been doing to prepare yourself for this economic crisis, and what things are you going to be doing in the near future to also put yourself in the best position?
That's a great question, Bryce. So one, I knew that, and exactly in 2019, I thought the market is going to start correcting. And I saw that just living in San Francisco Bay Area, some of the properties started going down, dipping a little bit. And I'm taking an example of single family. There was one house which was sold for 1.1, was on the market for $1 million again. So I thought, okay, about time. But would you believe that the same property just sold for 1.5 million? So 50% increase in a couple of years. So it's about time. There is you and I, none of us can stop this. So it's about time. So to better prepare myself, what I'm doing is that I have been selling my single family, because of course most of us started investing in single family, then small duplexes to fourplexes to multifamily, and then moved on to mobile home park. Of course, that's not the case with you. So I've been selling my single family to duplexes slowly. Right, I want to get out at the right time. Of course, I could still be wrong, but I think it's about time for me to move to larger, bigger properties. Then, of course, I was also doing multifamily and apartment building, but when I saw that the cap rates kept compressing, there was so much competition. Just the numbers did not make sense because everything worked on the pro forma number. So I realized that mobile home parks, self-storage, and the third asset class, senior housing, are the recession-resistant assets, right? So that's where I started moving into. I, of course, had been looking at mobile home park. Last year, I bought my first one. We just partnered on a mobile home park and a self-storage, actually. So it's the best of both worlds. Fingers crossed, I don't think we can go wrong there. So yes, I'm slowly moving into mobile home parks, and we just actually started building a brand new senior housing facility. So that also is going to help us on my side, that by the time we are done with the construction, we'll hit the ground running. And in 2023, we are anticipating that senior population would be the largest population base in America. So that's another reason why I want to focus on that side. But going back to mobile home parks and self-storage, you're on the money again, because self-storage, I was looking at it in 2008 and 9, the rents went up. When the market crashed, a lot of people had to downsize. So self-storage did the best during those times, right? It was the number one performing asset. And I think closely behind was mobile home park, that it did not struggle. And again, the reason is that affordability has been such a big issue. Just, looking at maybe North Carolina, where Raleigh and Charlotte went up like crazy, or California to Seattle, I have been worried about affordability. So, of course, you and I and our investors want to make money, but we also want to provide affordable housing to people, right? So where are they going to go? Apartments, they may get kicked out. A house, they may get foreclosed upon. They'll go to mobile home parks, right? So we can provide, basically create a win-win situation for you, I, and the people who want to live in the mobile home park. So that's what I'm doing right now, just moving into this space as fast as possible.
Yeah. Smart move, man. Yeah. Let me just expand a little bit on that, just for some listeners that may not understand like the capacity of what we're talking about is coming. Like I said before, they combined with foreclosures or with people who are late on the mortgage and late on their rent, it's over 20 million people.
Yes.
In the US, and it was 20 million households actually. And if you think about it, okay, well, like the population's about 300 million or something like that, but we're talking about households. Okay. There's not 300 million households. And then you got to think about how many of those people actually are going to be renting a house or paying for a mortgage. And it's not including kids and other family members. It's just including like the people that are doing that. So if we actually look at the amount of people, we got like 20 million people behind on rents and behind on mortgages. That's a massive amount of people in America. Now, right now, everybody's running around like acting like it's the roaring 20s. And they're like, oh man, housing prices is going up and it's just going to rise and rise and rise. And you can't help but make money right now with the illusion that it's going to keep going like that. But now, eviction moratoriums have been cut off, and that means that by about fall time in 2021, we're going to see a good portion of those 10 million households be evicted. And so now they're going to be displaced. Now they're going to have to try and find other rental real estate. There's going to be a lot of landlords that won't take them on. And then, fast forward a little bit, because the foreclosures are going to be happening, but they're going to take a little bit longer. They're going to take maybe 3 to 6 months, maybe even longer. Some people to if they want to push back on the process. So I think by about summertime next year in 2022, we are going to see the exact opposite of what we're seeing now. Right now, we're seeing, in California, for example, you're probably seeing this. Someone lists a property for 700,000, and then there's like 25, 30 offers.
Oh, yes.
Asking price, and then it ends up closing at like 850 or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's out of this world, because there's a undersupply and there's an over demand.
Yep.
Those tables are going to turn massively. And then we're going to see an oversupply of housing and an under demand, because people aren't going to be in the position to be able to get to buy houses. They're going to be financially bound. Lenders are probably going to choke up on lending. And then, like you said, simultaneously, while all this is happening, we are also going to see what's called the silver tsunami, which is, like, as you just touched on it before, all of the baby boomers, the largest population in America right now, retiring, moving into like homes. And in addition to that, sometimes some of those people, it's just their numbers up, their time's up, their expiration date's up, however you want about it. And that's the largest population in America. So one, there's going to be a massive need for senior housing. That's just going to be off the hook. And then the second thing is there'll be a lot of those people that also pass away, and there's all going to be all of these estates and houses that become available. So all these things combined, not even to add in any of the effects if this COVID thing or the vaccination thing kicks off and we start to see a lot more people, increasing in deaths. I mean, that's going to bring even more homes onto the market. So, I think personally, even with all of those things taken into consideration, I personally think that, self-storage is going to be good, definitely in the short term for the next couple of years. Mobile home parks are still going to be good because there is so much demand for affordable housing. I just can't see. I mean, literally, we'd have to have half of America be in a position where they just like displaced for it to be a problem in the mobile home park space. So and at that point, I think we've got bigger problems. And so I just really can't see senior living facilities, self-storage, and mobile home parks. They're just going to thrive in this environment. And, all those people that are out there fixing and flipping homes and think that they're going to do that and rinse and repeat what happened back in 2008, 2009, I think it's going to be a very, very different story. And sorry to kind of take the flame on that one, but I really want to drive this home and put that message out there, because there's a lot of investors out there that are investing things they don't understand and predict the future. We're ringing the warning bells right now. There's a crash coming, and I hope you guys are prepared. I know that I've done positioning. I've been doing positioning and taking advantage of awesome interest rates, refinancing, positioning in different ways. What other ways are you positioning yourself, Alpesh? I know you're in cryptocurrency as well. You're doing Bitcoin mining. What other things are you doing to kind of protect yourself or hedge against what must be happening, or have a little bit of diversity against real estate?
No, that's a great question as well. And I'm glad that you touched on the other point about, people may pass, there'll be estates and a lot of other things. Houses will become available, or some of those people will move into senior housing, and that's why those estates will become available. And a lot of their heirs would not want to, manage any kind of those houses or estates, and they'll just give it up, right? They're like, okay, whatever I can get right away, I'm going to sell it for. So that's one thing. How I'm preparing myself is that, of course, real estate, it's huge. There is one thing I tell people, that there are so many ways to make money as well as lose money in real estate, right? Means people start from single family to mobile home park, senior housing, multifamily. You can, I heard, I interviewed someone on my podcast regarding parking garages, right? So there's parking lots, there is laundromats. So many things. So one thing I do, of course, I love mobile home parks, self-storage, and senior housing, and that's where I want to put most of my money in. But also look at it from your overall portfolio perspective and see how else you can diversify. Can you diversify? Maybe right now also I was listening to another guy as well as another friend, and they are buying hotels. This was such a good time just last year and this year to buy hotels, because a lot of hotels had to close down because of COVID, lockdown, and whatnot. And someone I know, he bought a hotel which was worth about 9 million something 3 years ago, and the mortgage on it is worth 5 million. The guy bought it for 4.3 million, something like that. That's a huge deal. So some of those, you can start looking into those, right? Because people will start going back to traveling at some point. Maybe the market will again correct, but as an Americans, or even tourists who come out of or come travel from other parts of the world, we want instant gratitude, right? We want to see a gratification. We want to enjoy these beautiful places, new nice hotels, this, that, right? So there is always that travel will come back. So that's another one thing I have not invested in, but I'm looking into it as well if I can. And that's not going to be my active investment. Another thing I prefer to do is that go with people who know that particular asset class, right? So you and I partnered on mobile home parks and self-storage because I know I can trust Bryce, right? Senior housing, I went with another partner who I can trust, that that's all he does. That's all they know, senior housing. I'm not going to go ahead and buy a hotel myself. Of course, I got to find a mentor if I want to do it myself, or I'm going to invest with someone who already knows hotels, right? So that's one mistake a lot of investors make, that they try to do it themselves, everything. And a lot of people may be able to do because they love active, but most of the people realize after owning one single family or one duplex that they are not cut out for this, right? They need to go with someone. They need to diversify. If they want to scale up, they need to partner or invest with someone. So that's how I look at it. Other thing I'm looking at it is that I prefer alternative assets or real assets, right? Because you already mentioned about real estate. I kind of touched upon stock market, right? Stock market is like crazy booming, all-time high. I just saw again S&P 500 and Dow and everything hit all-time high, right? Today. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? This just does not make sense. So even that is going to drop. So people, if you are just investing in stock market or even in just crypto, look at your overall portfolio. Make sure that you can afford to lose significant amount of capital, or if you are in crypto, if you have to make sure you can afford to lose everything you have invested in. I love cryptos, but because I've been studying it since 2015, I have had a mining company before as well, and then we just started our Bitcoin mining operations this year, where we have been paying out just for last 2 months about 9 to 10% monthly return to our investors.
Monthly.
Yes, monthly. So I want to, with depreciation. So that is why I picked Bitcoin mining, because I love real estate. And this is similar to real estate, where I can get cash flow with tax benefits. Because we are mining, we can write off the hardware in the very first year, same way as we do in real estate using cost segregation, right? I can write off 90 to 100%. So all the cash flow my investors are receiving for the first year would be pretty much free. They are getting their entire capital back in about a year. So this is why I like that if you can get your capital back, invest in real assets or assets where you can get tax benefits, cash flow. And if you can get your principal back in 1 to 3 years, that's best of both worlds, right? So this is why when we underwrote our deal, I love that deal, because we are looking at it, returning the entire capital within 2 to 3 years, right? By end of year 3. That's huge, because once I get my money back, I can play with that money in another deal now. Now my money works in 2 different deals, and I also have reduced my risk exposure, right? So this is some of the things I'm doing. Another thing I've been liking is investing in agriculture, because you and I need food to eat, right? You can't, even if you are a meat eater, you can't just survive on meat. You are going to need vegetables. You are going to need fruit. So that's how I invested in Panama in a coffee farm, right? Because everyone needs coffee. We Americans cannot live without coffee, right? And chocolate. So I invested in Belize in a chocolate farm, cacao farm, because I need chocolate every day. I need to feel good, right? So I was reading about cacao. That's one thing that it makes you feel good. And funny that during recession, coffee and cacao market went like crazy because everyone needed to feel good. Everyone needed that caffeine. So 2008, 9, 10, coffee and cacao went through the roof. I have invested in an orange tree farm because I believe orange, everyone loves Florida's natural orange juice or Dole, right? So some of those things I'm doing, where I'm also investing in agriculture, almond tree farm, to some of those different assets, just to diversify my risk.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So many rabbit holes to go off there. I love the agriculture and food topic. I study macro, and we're going to take all these things into consideration. And something that I think is very vulnerable right now is our food system. And I think we're going to see a bit of a collapse of some of these big companies and these big corporations, and it's going to go back to smaller companies and more local businesses and local farmers and things like that. That way we can control our food sources a little bit better. And I mean, not only are you investing in agriculture, you're also investing in people's good health, which is really freaking awesome, dude. I'm completely and thoroughly addicted to cacao. I don't drink coffee. I'm more of a tea guy, but I have cacao and maca powder and goji berries, and I love all that. That's great.
Love this one. 100% cacao, dark chocolate, nothing else, no sugar. This is one of the best.
Beautiful, man. And that's from Belize, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, awesome. Beautiful country, man. That's where my wife's family's from.
Oh, really?
My wife's actually literally the only person in her family that wasn't born in Belize. And yeah, man, you go down there and it's just I feel like I'm part of family down there. It's really, really cool. They're super welcoming. It's a beautiful country.
Exactly. It's awesome. It's beautiful. The people are so nice. They are welcoming, and they speak good English.
Yeah, man, I don't have international investments like that. And, I just think that's a really, really cool thing. Certainly something I'm looking to get into, because in addition to having international investments and kind of diversifying in different markets, because, when America gets affected, a lot of other countries will, but then a lot of countries, especially Central America, may not be affected because they're not that tied to there. But in addition to that, I'm an avid traveler. I love traveling over the world. I've surfed all over. I've surfed every country in Central America, had amazing time down in Panama. And I would love to be able to go down on a surf trip and business trip and enjoy all of that, and enjoy all of the tax write-offs and the benefits from that too. And get to dip into some different cultures. So that's amazing, man. Love it. And how do people actually keep in touch with you on wanting to find out more about your investments? I'm sure already, our freedom hackers that are listening right now are going, what? I can make, 9%, 10% a month on Bitcoin mining. I mean, you just got to think about the compound effect of that over years. I mean, how would someone get involved in something like that?
Absolutely. So my website address is right here. It's www.wealthmatters.com. Matters is shortened, so I'll spell it out. WEALTHMATRS.com. Or they can, of course, text me as well, 510-400-7930.
That's cool. Reach out to Alpesh if you want to get involved in his deals. And I want to know, man, have you got any more Bitcoin investments coming up? Because I want to take part of that for sure, brother.
Absolutely. So we started Fund 1, Bitcoin Mining Fund 1, which was way oversubscribed. I didn't think that everyone would want to invest that time. So it was way oversubscribed. So we launched Fund 2, and it got oversubscribed last month as well. So we are working on our Fund 3 right now. So we should be launching, I'm hoping, early next month.
Dude, send me a private message first so that you
I
let me
will.
know. Oh,
I
yeah.
will for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, we're pretty bullish on crypto. I know it's definitely a volatile thing. And hey, one thing I
Yes.
just want to make clear to all of our freedom hackers right now, Alpesh and I, we're not CPAs, financial advisors, or attorneys. We're just talking about what we're doing, sharing some information for educational purposes only. You obviously have to consult with your own financial advisors and whatnot. We're just telling you what we're doing and what we believe in, so you can be a little bit more equipped to do your own research and go out there and make your own decisions. But yeah, we're bullish on crypto. My wife is actually the crypto guru of the household.
Nice.
Like there's sometimes like late at night, I just want to like hang out with her, and she's just like deep in crypto land.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool, man. I love that she's into it. It can get a little bit complex. And last year, we wanted to park our money that we have for taxes, and we just looked at our bank account and was like, there's no point keeping money in a bank account right
No
now.
way.
Like one of the worst ideas to do. And I don't really trust the banking system either.
No.
And that's probably a whole nother podcast episode, but we parked our money. It was just in Bitcoin. We just parked it in Bitcoin, and we're just like, all right, we're going to hold it there for a couple of months. And in just a couple of months, it 10x'd. And
Wow.
like boom, now we've got tax covered for the next 10 years, and now it's like, oh, do we really want to pull it out, or should we just use some money? So yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed it so far. And I think with all the stuff coming up, with the real estate crash and the compound effect of all of these things happening, I think there's definitely going to be some excitement and some movement happening in the bullish direction in crypto. So definitely a very exciting space.
I agree. And another thing I can tell you is that you can put that Bitcoin in BlockFi or Gemini and earn 5% per year on top of. So which bank gives you 5% right now? Even if you just want to keep cash, right? You can put Bitcoin or even buy stable coins like USDC or Gemini USD and park money. I think stable coins, they are giving 7 to 8% per year. And for Bitcoin, you can get 4 to 5%. That's what I'm doing. So while I'm waiting for Bitcoin or I'm hodling or waiting for it to go up, I'm also getting interest earned in Bitcoin. So I'm earning that interest in Bitcoin so that, if it continues to go up, my Bitcoin will again compound, right?
And I'm not an expert in the crypto space whatsoever, but are you talking about DeFi? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not even DeFi. A lot of the platforms so DeFi, you can go even way bigger. DeFi, some of the DeFi platforms, you can earn from 20% to 100% per year.
Wow.
But this is just platform like, I think you may be on Coinbase, right? But there are other platforms like Gemini, BlockFi. They give you 5% interest because what they do, exactly like bank, they take your Bitcoin and use it as collateral and loan it to others, right? People who want to loan money using their Bitcoin.
Are they doing that on the like fractional reserve kind of method where they could hold, $1 million worth of, cryptocurrency capital in the account and then actually go leverage that like 10 times? Is there like a leverage factor to it?
Yes, but they're doing it other way around. So you can only leverage, if you hold $1 million worth of Bitcoin, you can only leverage 500,000.
Wow.
And take it out as a loan because they want to make sure because of the volatility.
So it's actually an honest system.
Yes.
it's an honest system that's not going to crumble like a house of cards. Like
exactly. You
wow.
got it.
That's really cool, man. And, that's actually something that I think it's a hot topic in my mind right now is like, where do we place our money? Because I watched a move that Warren Buffett did last year where you look at Berkshire Hathaway and you get to see what their balance sheet is. Mm-hmm. And for those who don't know what a balance sheet is, it's pretty much, it's your report card of what assets you own and where they're placed. And that's all, public information. And what he did, I think it was in Q3 of last year. So 3/4 of the way through last year, he pulled significant amounts of money, hundreds of billions out of banks but he still remained in Bank of America, but he pretty much pulled out of all of the other main banks. It was Chase and Wells Fargo and all of those. And to me, that was like a first indicator that something's coming up in the banking system. We already know it's fragile. We already know that they're trying to bring out a centrally controlled digital currency that would enable there be no need for banks anymore, and banks would just kind of be passed through accounts, and they wouldn't actually hold the ledgers of everybody. They're trying to hold that at the central bank, which is the Federal Reserve. So I could see that the US dollar will be eliminated and deleted in the coming years, and that there'll be no need for banks. So I'm a bit skeptical about holding money in banks. And, if you look at a bank, that you're insured up to about $250,000 for each account.
Yes.
And if you look at stock market accounts, you're typically insured for about 500,000. Which is a little bit better, but then I don't even know how much insurance is going to pay out if the whole system crumbles and everybody needs to be paid out. I mean, everyone but could take a loss at that point. So then, like, where else do we put money? Well, we could put it, we could store it in gold and silver. We could store it in a bank vault. We could store it in crypto. I mean, there's a lot of options, and I'm doing a lot of deep research on that to find out where I feel the most comfortable. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I totally agree, because the banking system, the way we have been printing money, it's going to crumble at some point, right? Means that there is going to be a lot of downward pressure on the banks as well. Yes, 250,000. So what I do personally, of course, most of the time I'm investing, right, in real estate or the assets I like. So I try not to keep a lot of money in the bank. But if I end up, I don't even keep 250,000 at one place, right? I have accounts in three different banks. I'm gonna keep like 100 grand in each of the banks, right? So that way, at least I'm protected. And then as and when I see an investment, I'm just gonna invest into those, right? I also look into some of the peer-to-peer loan system, if it makes sense, and if I'm able to get a short-term turnaround from the person who I'm lending, then I'm going to do that and get, make my money work. But keeping the money in the bank, you are anyhow losing against inflation, right? Means you are already losing. So if you think you are saving money, you are not. If you just target 2% inflation per year, you are already losing, because you don't get 2% interest. But look, current data, the CPI shows that the inflation is at 4 to 5%, right? So if you look at that, then your $100 is $95 in 2022, right? So you got to make sure that you just don't sit on your money. You got to rotate the money, invest.
That's an interesting thing too. And I was actually down at Rebel Capitalist Live with George Gammon and Jason Hartman, and
he's awesome.
The Kiyosaki's and all those guys. And Jason Hartman came up on stage and he gave a presentation about how, so we seem like we're at the top of the market, inflated values on single family homes, but look at the debt right now. And if you actually compare the debt interest rate right now and you apply the time value of money, which is essentially inflation, we're actually essentially, when you look at the time value of money and inflation, we're paying negative interest rates to get loans. And so even though we might be paying overinflated prices, if you're getting really, really solid debt, you could be better off anyway, even if the value does drop in the future, especially if you're looking to hold long term and you can ride the roller coaster. Or if you're in the mobile home park space or self-storage space like we are, and you can actually control the economy by increasing your rents and increasing the occupancy, then you actually have control of the value anyway. But, that's something that a lot of people don't really understand. It's like debt has been amazing lately. And I think we could be coming to our last legs of having really awesome debt, because when things crumble, a lot of that might change or choke up. But yeah, we could go down a lot of different rabbit holes. Let me just come back to, I know we have aligned investment philosophies, and that's one of the reasons that we've done joint ventures together. And I'm excited to do many more with you too.
Absolutely.
You want to just tell people a little bit about the deal that we've just done and what got you so excited about it?
That's awesome. So the deal we recently did in Spartanburg, South Carolina, is one that it's in your backyard, right? That was important for me because we started looking at a lot of deals together, and I'm like, when you mentioned this is in your backyard, I'm like, okay, I can go meet Bryce. So no, that was one of the things that I know that your team can execute the plan. The second was that it also had self-storage, right? So you and I were looking at mobile home parks and self-storage, and somehow this still landed in your laps, and it has both mobile home parks and self-storage. And I'm like, how can you go wrong? You are getting best of both worlds. You have a deal which has both. And the funny thing was that self-storage was badly occupied, badly marketed. So there was a lot of value add there, but without putting a lot of money. Because a lot of time, these apartment operators or multifamily syndicators, when they sell a deal, heavy value add. We are going to raise the rent from 800 to 1400 bucks in 6 months, and then you invest. And I have done that. I have already lost money with one of the big syndicator. I don't want to name him. And this was about 5 years ago. But the heavy value add takes years. I could have constructed brand new apartment building in that much time if I'm going to wait for a heavy value add. In this case, because the self storage, we don't have to do much. It's all, they are already built. They are in good condition. We'll be cleaning this and that, but most of, in no time, we'll be able to start marketing that. So that is where the real value is. And of course, we found some additional lots which we may be able to take advantage of in the mobile home park side. That also got me excited. And third, just looking at your conservative underwriting, I'm like, this makes so much sense. If we can return investors' capital in 3 years, that's win-win for everyone. If I can get my principal back, as I said, I can start playing with the money, and those same investors may just invest or roll over their funds with us in another deal. So those were the three things. And of course, I don't want to dump it down, but the market itself, South Carolina and North Carolina, they are growing. They're growing like crazy, the population, the job growth. So of course, you cannot discount that fact as well. So overall, after looking at all these factors, I thought this would be a great deal for us to work together.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Thanks for sharing your 2 cents on that one. I'm excited to partner with you on this. And certainly, we've already got boots on the ground. We just closed last week. We've got our top manager and construction company down there, and we're already starting to knock it out. So really excited to be working on that one together. I'm going to shift gears right now, and we're going to get a little bit deeper and a little bit more granular on a few things around freedom and some challenges and successes that you've had. So let's kick this off with, what's your idea of the ultimate freedom lifestyle?
Man, that's a that's a curveball. But ideal freedom lifestyle, I don't think it means that the FIRE movement, right? Financial independence, retire early. I am not going to retire. Why would I retire if I enjoy something? The whole idea is that, or at least for me, is the time freedom, right? I should be able to do whatever I want, whenever I want, right? As you said right before the podcast, you had to go out, and I was dropping my kids off to school. I want to be able to do all of that. When my kids come back, I may want to cook for them, even though I don't enjoy that, but I enjoy seeing them eat, right? So that's what I want to do, right? So basically, I want to control my time. Of course, you can only do that if you have enough money in the bank, or if not bank, you have enough money coming in from your investments, right? So that's where it's important to, start generating passive income. That's one thing. Second is build multiple streams of income. And the third is make money while you sleep, right? It's very important that, even if you have an online store running, it could run 24/7. And if you have people handling that, they can, start taking care of everything, and you don't have to worry, right? So ultimate financial freedom for me is being able to actually enjoy my money, not worry about commute 3 to 4 hours a day, as a lot of people in San Francisco Bay Area do, because they make 400, 500,000, but working as a W2 employee, and they're running around 3 to 4 hours spent in car and then 10 hours working. So they barely have time to enjoy their $2 million house, or they barely have time to talk to their kids, right? So I don't want that money where I am tied or I'm stuck and I can't go out, right? So I want to enjoy that, have the time freedom, enjoy time with family, and not worry about my investments day to day. I don't want to be checking my stocks and crypto every hour and get emotional about it. Oh, it went up, I'm happy. It went down, I'm sad, right? I want to again have passive income coming from those investments as well.
That's awesome, man. Cash flow. And so you can live the freedom lifestyle you want to live. And I'm going to go chime in and tell a little bit of story about you, because I know that you love hiking, and you and I were talking the other day, and then, you know, someone just like called you up and opened up a window of opportunity to you and called you to the challenge of hiking Mount Whitney. And I think you found out about it like the day before. And, you know, one of the things about that is like how many people are in a position to just take off and climb the tallest mountain in America, like at drop notice. And so that's obviously a testament to the fact that you are living a true freedom lifestyle. But I also want to hear about that adventure, man. That was just recently. How was that for you?
Yeah, so that was end of August. It was surreal when I reached at the top, right? I reached the summit. Before that, it was a struggle. But you're right. We were discussing about going. I was not part of the original group, so I didn't know till Wednesday morning, and we were supposed to hike on Saturday. Wednesday afternoon, they told me you are going, and then I had to take off Thursday, Friday. So I was gone. But as you said, unless I had that freedom, I wouldn't have been able to do that. But that was crazy because it was about 22 miles, or a little over 22 round trip. Took us 20 hours. And it's not a joke when people think that respect the mountain. That's what I learned that day. That after 10,000 feet, the altitude gets you. You know, no matter who you are. I thought I was overconfident. I thought I have been doing this kind of hikes, but I had never done that kind of altitude before. So that was a lesson learned. But of course, on the flip side, I was not prepared either with mind and all, but somehow, luckily, physically, I am in good shape because I love hiking and working out, as well as, I play a lot of sports as well. So somehow I made it at the top, but coming back down, it was awesome. Just going to the top was not easy. So I don't want to put it down that it was easy and I was in great shape. So I just did it without any struggles. It was struggle, but we enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. Hats off to you, dude, for doing it in such short notice. A lot of people actually would like train specifically for that, so that they knock it out. And you just had the, hey, man, you ready to come tomorrow? Let's do it. And I've heard there's a bit of a sketchy section at the top where it kind of, you get a lot of exposure and you could really like slip. And I don't know, you have to like hold on to a chain or something like that. Is that right?
So that's a half dome in Yosemite.
Mm-hmm.
This one, there is no chain, but at the top, of course, it's rocky and the other side is valley. So you can sleep on the other side, right? So of course, we had to carry our trekking poles. And with the altitude sickness, I had to use trekking pole for half of my hike. So yes, you definitely need to be really careful.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Altitude sickness is a real deal. I mean, in 2019, my wife and I were in La Paz in Bolivia, and we just flew in there. I mean, I think we came from Brazil or something like that, and we flew in there straight up at like high altitude. And I just never really took altitude sickness seriously before. And then I just remember walking through the city that day, and I almost blacked out, dude. Like I literally couldn't walk. I'd have to walk for like 100 yards. And then I have to stop and sit down and like drink some water. And I'm like, man, it was a really, really odd and peculiar feeling.
So that's exactly how I finished my hike, because I did not acclimatize either. My other group of friends, they went earlier. We reached on Friday and we started the hike on Friday, 9:30 p.m. There was no time to acclimatize. So that's exactly how you did. I had someone very experienced with me. So he said, walk 100 yards. Sit down, take a breath, take a sip of water, or start walking again. Just did baby steps. I had never done a mile an hour, but that last 5 miles, that's what I did, a mile an hour. And it felt miserable at that time. But as I said, when I reached the top, I felt like I'm on top of the world.
Good for you, man. Excellent, dude. I'd love to take on that challenge. I wanna actually do Aconcagua down in Argentina, which is it's the tallest mountain outside of the Himalayas. And
Really?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and it's one of the 7 summits. It's the largest mountain in the Americas. And the thing about it too is, which I really like, is because I abseil and stuff like that, but I'm not like super like into like rock climbing or anything like that. And you don't have to have technical rock climbing skills to actually like get to the top. It's more just kind of like hiking, maybe
That's good.
a little bit of scrambling. But because of the altitude, because it's up there, man, I can't even remember how tall it is. But again, it's like the largest mountain outside of the Himalayas,
Right.
and it's 26-day mission. And it's down
Oh,
in
wow.
Argentina, just kind of near Mendoza, the
Uh-huh.
wine region. And I really, really I was down there in 2019. Once I found out about it, I'm like, yeah, I'm coming back. I'm doing this thing. I'm gonna carve out a month. I'll do it. My wife can just like, eat food at the wineries and do the same thing for a month. She'll have a great time. She's a foodie, and I can go for a hike up there. But then, all this stuff's happening in Argentina right now, and they're locking
Yes.
down and they're going crazy, and it's hectic, man. So I'm gonna wait until I see a window of freedom down there, because a lot of stuff that's happening there is not free at
Yes.
all.
Let
Um,
me know when you decide. I want to check it out for sure.
Beautiful, dude. Excellent, man. I'll hold you to that. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's do that. Excellent. So yeah, we have a lot of challenges. That in itself, climbing to Whitney had challenges. There's a lot of challenges in business. There's a lot of challenges as an entrepreneur. You're also a father as well. There's just built-in challenges there. That's for sure. You've been successful in a lot of areas of your life, and behind us, the people who want to become successful, there's always a big reason why we're doing what we're doing. The driving force that punches us through our challenges. Do you mind sharing with us what your reason why is?
That's a very deep question, actually. But so my why is, of course, my family, right? So that has been my why. I want to be able to spend time with my family, enjoy my time with my kids before they grow up. After once they turn teenagers, they would not have time for me, right? And by that time, if I say now I have enough money, I can spend time with you, it would be too late. So that was my first why. Second why is that I saw a lot of people living miserable life, even if they had a lot of money. I wanted to show them that there are so many other ways for them to start making money, right? As well as, start becoming healthy. That's why I always talk about health. For me, it's not just having a lot of money. It's that is a triangle. The first part of the triangle is financial health, right? That's money, income coming in. Second is your physical health, right? That is how, you can climb the mountain, I can climb the mountain. And third is the mental health or the family, right? The relationship you have with your friends and surrounding, right? If you do not maintain all three, you are going to have issues, right? It doesn't matter how much money you have or if you are in the best physical shape of your life, but you got to have all three. And that is my why, because I started to showing this to people, that you got to, even if, let's say, some of my friends had a lot of money and they were not in good shape, I would ask them, come with me on hike, because I want to help you become the best you should be, right? So that you can enjoy your life, later part of the years, right? Same way, if someone is having relational issues, I want to help them. I'm not as you mentioned, we are not CPA attorney, or I'm not a psychologist, but I want to understand the issues people are going through, and that is my why. I want to help as many people as possible, of course, mostly on the financial health and physical health side.
I'm hearing a lot of contribution happening there from your brother, and I think that's awesome, man. And that's actually a side effect of freedom and financial freedom and time and location freedom. Once we've got ourselves grounded and taken care of, then the weight gets lifted off our shoulder. We no longer have to hustle to survive, and now we've got more energy to be able to contribute to other people. So that's beautiful, man. I love that. How has that reason why, the drive of your family, helped you overcome challenges?
Wow, that's challenges are always there in every day. We just spoke about right before the podcast that this week has been crazy, right? We closed on our mobile home park first day of this week, and we were on standby trying. And then after that, also there was a lot going on. So there is always challenges, but I look at the end goal, right? That this is what I want to be doing. I envision, and I recommend people to read a book called The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod,
Mm.
right? Huge influence on me. That book, combined with the Go Giver Club, the Go Giver book by Bob Burg, because he talks about you have to give to get something. Most of us want to get something before giving anything, right? So these two books I highly recommend everyone. So what in the Miracle Morning Hal Elrod talks about is the savers method, where you are scribing things, you are affirming things, and one important thing is the visualization. I always try to visualize how it would feel if I overcome this challenge, how it would be after this is done, right? Oh yeah, so if I take care of today, oh, I'm going to be able to play badminton with my kids. I will have time to go to the court and play badminton, right? Or tennis, right? So I try to visualize, or maybe I'll be able to just hang out, with my wife and maybe grab lunch or something after we are done with this podcast, right? So every day, if I am hit with a challenge, I try to visualize what's after that challenge.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, the power of visualization is huge. And, a lot of our guests on Freedom Hack Radio do have some kind of morning practice
Routine,
or something
yes.
that they do. You don't have to. It's not like you have to have a morning practice to be successful. But from my experience, when I tap into my morning practice, and I don't do it every morning, but the days I do, I feel so much better. Everything
Yes.
flows so much better. We get an opportunity to start the day off right. And I think that's really powerful. So, we're talking about things that are going right. Now let's talk about things that go wrong, because not everything's perfect in the entrepreneurial world, and we have tons of challenges. So do you mind sharing with us, one of the biggest mistakes that you've made on your path to an entrepreneur?
The biggest mistake I made was one that I have an IT consulting business. And it when it was doing really great in 2013 to I would say 2015, we did not expand, because
Mm.
by this time I could have sold that business for 10 million or so, and I would have just fully got out, right? So that was one mistake that every entrepreneur, you and I, we wear so many hats that it's a lot of time it becomes tough for you to give up some of those responsibilities,
Mm.
right? It's important to figure that out at the right time, not afterwards. That, okay, this is the time where you need to start giving up this space to someone else. You may end up not losing money, but you may have to pay that person to start with. But once that person or once that team is it's ready, right? Once they will be able to generate even more business for you, giving you more time freedom, or giving you time to focus on the things which matters the most, right? So that was the biggest mistake I made. The second mistake I would say is we started the crypto mining company in 2017. Again, we tried to do everything ourselves and then not gave up, but 2019, when the bear market hit, we sold all our coins instead of holding them, right? So instead of not looking at the long-term picture, we decided that, okay, it's time to get out, and we'll just focus on something else. Those coins are worth, between four of us, they would have been worth about over 5 to 6 million right now. So that was another mistake, that not looking at the long-term picture.
Yeah, wow. So, the pain of the missed opportunities there,
Yes.
I think like each time challenges happen, it's like leaves an imprint in our brain and
Yes.
in our physiology. And so now you're probably hyper alert of like putting
Yeah.
the pedal to the metal when you do see the opportunity and like really not wasting an opportunity there. That's great. All these things happen for a reason. So you also have a lot of wins, man. I mean, you're checking a lot of boxes. I mean, how do you celebrate your wins?
That's great. How do I celebrate my wins? Of course, we try to take a vacation, try to actually donate a lot of money as well. And I don't want to talk about that, but the more money you make, you got to contribute to the society one way or other, right? So that's very important. And when I look at, again, I don't want to talk about how these people run business, but when you look at Bill Gates or Mark Zuckerberg now, or Warren Buffett, they put a certain amount of money aside for donation, right? It's very important that they donate money, or end their time to certain causes, right? It could be malaria, it could be this water crisis, or it could be COVID, right? But it's very important for us to support the society, right? Because if you or I have 10 million or 100 million, would that change our lifestyles? No,
Yeah.
right? After a certain point, it's just a zero in
Hmm.
in in, in the entire
You
landscape,
have all
right?
of your
So
needs taken care
yeah,
of.
exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah.
If you have one plane, are you going to buy another plane just for the sake of parking it?
Mm.
So same thing. If I have two cars, they serve the purpose. Maybe I'll have a third weekend car. You don't need 10 different cars to enjoy that life. That is more show off. But I believe that if you take care of people around you, that's more important at that point. So I celebrate, of course, my win with taking a vacation, giving whatever my family needs or wants, right? But also looking at overall picture and see that, okay, how much can I contribute to somewhere? Maybe sometimes I even contribute to Red Cross here in India, and even other parts of the world. But the idea is that how can I contribute? A lot of time, even though we have time freedom and we mentor people by giving our time, but sometimes we don't have enough time to support these causes. Then at least you have money to support those causes.
For all of our freedom hackers right now, I'm sure you're vibing the fact that Alpesh is high on values of growth and contribution, man. And that's something that I also think we're aligned on. So definitely feeling that coming from the heart. A couple more questions here. And we're going to wrap it up because I know you got to go. What's got you excited over the next 12 months? What's got you most excited?
I think mobile home parks, huge potential still there, as you and I spoke, senior housing, and blockchain technology. If you read between the lines, China banned Bitcoin mining. US did not. US is actually accepting a lot more Bitcoin miners, right? A lot of Chinese miners have moved to Kazakhstan, to Canada, to US, right? So blockchain is getting accepted. US is changing the tax laws, right? They are putting that in the tax laws. So I think, and Fidelity to Chase, they all started allowing their high net worth clients to invest in Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies. Bank of America to Amazon to Microsoft are building blockchain applications. So that's very exciting for me that finally they're adopting a technology which is as transparent as possible, right? People say that you can do a lot of money laundering and stuff using cryptos. No, the highest money laundering happens using cash.
Mm.
Crypto, you cannot hide. Everything is on blockchain.
Hmm.
Everything is transparent. Of course, there will always be some bad eggs, right? In anything, be in real estate to cryptos, or in banking industry. But overall, I think blockchain technology is getting me really excited as well, because I can see that there are so many use cases. There is so many things a lot of people can build. Actually, personally, I am looking into it as well. I want to build something as well which would be beneficial to the entire world.
Beautiful, man. You're not thinking small. I love it. Thanks a lot for joining us today, man. You're pouring your heart out. We're vibing all of your contribution and growth. You've shared a lot of knowledge on, places that we should be looking at, things we should be thinking about. You're bringing awesome investments to the table. I mean, I want to get in on that. That sounds really amazing. Totally see the opportunity there. You're out there. You're pouring your heart out with your Wealth Matters podcast. You're an author. I mean, dude, just, thanks a lot, man. Really, really appreciate you. Really appreciate you coming and joining us on Freedom Hack Radio, giving us the time of day. And just before we take off, man, any final thoughts? Anything you want to leave us with?
So one thing I always mention on my podcast and every other show I attend is that take action. And I know you always say that as well. Take massive action. A lot of people are going to listen to this Freedom Hack podcast, and you are doing an amazing job, by the way. I love the entire conversation. Or they listen to Wealth Matters podcast. They go home, they forget about it. They're like, okay, we are done. I don't think we can do that. Most of these people, they don't take any action, but they will complain after 2 years that I should have done that, could have, would have, should have. Like 3 years ago, when people told me that they want to buy in Austin, and now they're saying, oh, they're buying in Austin. I'm like, it's too late. You're done. You should have done it 3, 4, 5 years ago, right? So exactly, take action as soon as you, and there is so many things, bigger pockets to podcasts, to books, mentor, but unless you take action, they're all not going to help. None of this will help, because if you are a doctor and you just go through the theory, and if you don't perform a surgery, you don't learn anything. Same way, if you don't invest your money, your time, you're not going to learn anything. So it's very important to take action.
Yeah, that's a really good point, man. I think all you need to know is just the next step. Just the next step is all you need to know, and then you can figure out the one after that, beyond that. And something I actually tell myself, and this was taught to me by someone who I respect, and it's something I'm reminding myself all the time. It's just like, Bryce, stop talking about it and do it.
Yes,
because we can all talk about it's as soon as I catch myself on the second or third time talking about the fact that I'm going to do something, I'm like, dude, like you can say it once, you can say, hey, I'm going to do this. But once that's coming out of your mouth for the second time, if you're not taking action towards it, you're just talking about it and you're not doing it. So great way to wrap things up there. Again, thank you so much for sharing your time, your knowledge, your heart, your wisdom. You're a great guy, man. Super stoked to be in business with you. Really excited to keep the momentum going. And for those who are listening right now, Freedom Hackers, how can they keep the momentum going with you and reach out? I know you touched on it before, but how can people keep in touch with you, brother?
Absolutely. They can go visit my website, www.wealthmatters.com, wealthmatters.com. We are also on Facebook and LinkedIn. So if you search Wealth Matters, you can reach out to me via Facebook and LinkedIn. And of course, feel free to text me at 510-400-7930. Thank you so much, Bryce. And the feeling is mutual, by the way. You are an amazing guy, amazing person to work with. I thoroughly enjoyed our closing and everything, the entire deal. So I'm looking forward to do a lot more deals with you in near future.
Beautiful, man. Thank you very much for that. That means a lot to me. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm so stoked to be, aligned with people like you in business. It just makes my day so much better. So thank you all of our Freedom Hackers that are listening. This is Alpesh Parmar that's been joining us today from Wealth Matters, pouring his heart out and helping people, contributing to people all over the world, making people healthier and wealthier. Love it. So let's keep the momentum going with him, and make sure that you reach out and talk to him about his upcoming Bitcoin mining project that he's got going on there, if you're interested in making monthly cash flow, that is. So once again, thank you all for joining me today. I'm your host, Bryce Robertson, and until next week, live large and live free. G'day, this is Bryce Robertson. I'm your host here at Freedom Hack Radio, and I truly, truly hope that you got a ton of value out of the episode that we just shared with you. And if you did, make sure to subscribe on your YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe to your favorite podcasting platform. Hit the notification button so you can find out about the next episodes as they come out. Because if you haven't achieved financial time and location freedom, you really need to be dialed in here. So make sure to subscribe and follow us along as you grow on your path to financial, time, and location freedom here at Freedom Hack Radio.